After hearing something mentioned in a book I was listening to, I think today is going to be how success principles are pretty much the same in all areas of life. I put a photo of the Texas Rangers logo on the thumbnail because most of you, unless you've known me a very long time, did not know that I had provided security for the Texas Rangers baseball team around 2010 till about for 3.5 seasons. So till 2013, 2014. And then later, they hired me as their contract photographer for the youth baseball league for, I think that was one or two seasons. I don't recall. But anyway, it was a lot of fun. And I learned there a few success. That was the time when Nolan Ryan was the president and getting them prepared to get into the World Series, which eventually did happen, but not while I was working for him. But did you know if you're full-time staff, if your team wins the World Series, you get a ring just like the players do? Yeah, that's a lot of money they have hundreds of what they call front office staff. And they got hundreds more what they call seasonal staff. So that's a big expense, but that's why those tickets are so darn expensive to go to a World Series game. We may have gotten to the playoffs that year or the year after I left. But anyway, I got to spend some one-on-one time with Nolan Ryan and learned a little bit more about the game than I knew. So anyway, that's why that picture's up. Of course, you know why the YouTube picture is up. But first, who am I? And thank you for watching, whoever you may be. I hope you'll explain a little bit about yourself, or at least say hi down in the comments. I'm Chip. This channel is Chillin' with Chip because I'm basically a vloggerpreneur, YouTube digital nomad, pet and house sitter. And I got a comment on my last video on the other channel, my health channel, CP59Fit, that if I mention the dog, I should show her. It's almost a crime on YouTube, they said, and I'll mention this in the other channel too. It is, I know. I thought the other day, I'm not showing the dog, but this dog is hard of hearing and sleeps when she's not outside. So I couldn't just whistle or call her. Oh, look, I got a little bit of hair sticking up. I couldn't just whistle or call her. So if she's not sleeping at my feet, she doesn't get into the video. I do have a few clips of her, but I don't think those will make it into any videos. She has a little bit of problem with her hips, I guess. You know, I'm thinking, well, if you don't hear much, then, and you're not seeing anything, she sleeps on a bed by a little cubby hole in the breakfast nook, and she can see out the walkway here, the street here behind me. A lot of people walk their dogs, and all she does is if she sees one, she barks at them. But she has to see them because she really can't hear them from inside the house. So I could whistle, I could holler, I could clap my hands, and if she can't see me, she won't know where the noise is coming from, even if she hears it. I don't think she's completely deaf because I can sometimes get her attention. But that's why I mentioned the dog and I don't show it. But yes, I do pet sitting, house sitting. I've done it in most of the lower 48. I've gone as far as Denver. Then I've traveled as far west as Las Vegas, and then up from there over to Pagosa Springs, Colorado. So I'm not quite sure. I think Pagosa is east of Denver, so it's probably not a further west thing, but going north from Vegas into Utah, probably aiming east the whole time. So Vegas is probably the farthest I've been in this since I left Fort Worth in 2022. Oh, but we're talking about success today, and pet sitting, house sitting is part of my success approach to success. It makes it so I don't have to pay rent and have minimal expenses. No rent, no utilities, no homeowners or renters insurance, just car insurance, phone, and living expenses, gas, tires, oil, insurance on the car. Whoa, yeah, that's been a challenge this week. They were doubling my premium on the policy I'd gotten 3 years ago because they had a 3-year rate lock on, so now they were sticking it to me. I was able to change to another company and continue to get full coverage, maybe at lower levels. I told them, just go with the state minimums. I don't have accidents. So, well, knock on wood, wherever that is. I don't see any around here. But anyway, there's lots of layers to success, but I think there are some success principles that transcend all areas of life. And one thing I learned about baseball players is that their batting average is very instrumental in whether they're considered a success or not. Yes, their defense, when they're in the field, is where they get, well, I won't say it's where they get all the applause, but if you catch the ball that keeps the other team from going ahead as the third out of the ninth inning, yeah, that gets you some recognition. If you drop it, you're even more famous. And that reminds me of Josh Hamilton, who was there when I was there, and he missed a catch or dropped the ball or something. And end of the year, end of the season, that out may have got him to the playoffs or something. So anyway, he got a lot of grief for that. And Ian Kinsler was there and Michael Young. So that's the era that I was working for the Texas Rangers. I wouldn't know anybody there now. Of course, there were a whole lot more. But the batting average is figured out by the number of times you go to the plate at bat and the number of times you're at bat that you actually get to a base. I assumed it was you got a hit, but it could be that you either got hit by the ball, so you got to base, or you got walked and got to base. I don't know, but anyway, if you get to base 3 times out of 10 times at bat, so 30 out of 100, a 300 batting average is considered excellent in the major leagues, and I'm sure, I doubt anybody gets it in the lower leagues or little league, but they might, I don't know. But at any level of baseball, let's just say that 300 is considered a excellent batting average. So those players tend to make more money because that's one quantifiable area of their success. You have to be able to play the field. Well, maybe you don't, because there are pinch hitters, but those pinch hitters are somebody that plays a position at some point in time. You're not on they don't have a slot on the roster for pinch hitter. You do something else. But anyway, you get the drift. Batting average is a big principle of success. And in my research, I saw that the last time anybody topped 400 was 1941. And, I think the game is getting better since then. I think the pitchers are throwing balls faster now than they were in 1941. So it's probably harder to reach that level of success in 2024 than it was in 1941. And they got all these instant replays and all too, so maybe you could skimp by on something or get away with something almost 100 years ago that you can't get away with now, with all the eyes and the instant replays and the people with their phones. They do, I think, follow the rules much more strictly now because of all this technology that are in the ballparks. But then I found out the Vloggerpreneur course that I'm taking on school, the person that put it together, so let's call him a guru. That's kind of a generic term in social influencers these days. But if you're the head of that group, you're the guru. So if I ever start a group, I'll be a guru. Maybe that's why I haven't started it, because I don't feel like a guru. But anyway, he said if you get two, whichever part of the world you're from, 2 videos that are what they call outliers, which means they perform 3 to 5 times better than your average video. If you get 2 out of 10 on YouTube, you've done pretty well. So how does that translate to me? Well, it means that 8 times out of 10, my videos are not going to be, well, they're going to be average at best. I'm not going to say they're horrible, but they're going to be average at best. So, and how do we measure average versus outlier? The number of people that watch it, the number of comments, the number of likes, and the number of subscribers that it brings to your channel. I don't often remember to ask for subscribers. I'm supposed to do that when I'm introducing myself, but if you want to subscribe and you are willing to watch regularly, just subscribing really doesn't do much for me. That's the other parameter, is watch time. It's actually more helpful to the algorithm, or to me as a creator, if you watch the same video more than one. Well, actually, that may not be true. YouTube just wants eyes in front of the video. So if you watch mine and then you click the little recommended video and stay on the platform, YouTube is happy. I'm happy if it's one of my videos that pops up. And I'm starting, I think I've always put best video for the viewer, but now I'm starting to put my last release. So if you haven't seen, and you can also, I know on a computer, I think on a phone, there's a thing over on the side where the suggested videos pop up. If you're watching one and you see another one of mine over there, if you go to it and you click add to queue, then it will play that next. And that makes YouTube happy if I brought somebody to their platform and they stayed a long time, which also makes me happy if you're watching my videos. Yes, YouTube is a corporation like Walmart or Costco or anybody else that's really concerned about their bottom line more than my bottom line. So I have to take a little bit of concern for my bottom line. But I also think that this 20 to 30% can apply across the board, because if you're just 20% more successful than the person next to you, you're probably pretty darn successful. And I can say I'm 20% more successful than somebody who hasn't posted a video, because this is my retirement income. And I'm sort of kind of retired. Well, no, I'm not. I'm self-employed, and I'll probably always be self-employed. In fact, that brings up another point. I saw the guy in Anti-Fragile, Nassim Taleb, talked about. He was talking about two brothers in New York. One was a cab driver. One was a something big at like one of these mega banks. And they were the point was stability versus variability and fluctuating income. But it also mentioned that the banker his life could change with one call from HR saying, oh, we're downsizing, or you're laid off, or you're fired. And at 50 years old, he would be unhireable by another company because he's too old, too experienced, too expensive. But the cab driver, although he makes less per hour or less per fare, he could actually make the same amount of money as his big money brother. And it also said that most cab drivers continue doing what they're doing because they like it till they're 80. So even though a dentist, a doctor, a cab driver, a YouTube vloggerpreneur income varies, it's a longer term thing, and you can work harder to get more. I can put up more videos, basically is what I'm saying. The cab driver can take more cabs, more fares, or he can go to an area where there's higher or more frequent fares. That's why you see a lot of them sitting at airports, because that's almost a built-in customer base. Often, though, you don't take somebody to the airport and then pick up somebody. So I know from driving Lyft, sitting at the airport was not the most profitable option. In fact, Lyft wasn't really profitable at all. So I'm not quite sure how the 20% fits in with that, but it covered expenses anyway, but I don't want to go back to rideshare driving. It wears out your car, for one. But anyway, I think that's enough on this topic. And I'm starting to get sneezy and coffee. Talk to you later. God bless. Bye-bye.